Hello, my name is Contover. This is the Current Buzz. Thank you for watching today. Today we have Lisa Marrone. She's the Director of Business Development in Chelmsford. Welcome to Chelmsford. It's been, what, 6 months now? More than
about
6 months.
Yeah, I was hired in January, so we're ticking away here.
Yeah.
Coming on 10 months, so it's great to be here.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we're going to talk about business development. I know nothing about business development in Chelmsford, so that's why I asked Lisa to come here. We're going to talk about it. It's basically Business 101. I mean, we're just going to talk about her experiences in life. She lives in Leominster, Massachusetts.
Right.
Has to deal with the road glare on Route 2 coming in, going out every day. If you understand Route 2, it's in the evenings going west. It's very difficult because the sun's in your eyes.
There's a strategy involved.
Oh, is there a strategy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You have to tell me after the show.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have two young boys?
I do. I have two teenage boys, 17 and 18.
Okay, wow.
Yep, I got some new licensed drivers.
Oh, wow.
Junior and senior in high school. I have a Labor Day baby, so he's still a senior in high school. So it's all good. They keep me busy and, sports and all their happenings and keeping track of them.
But that's quite a drive from Leominster. What's a 45-minute drive?
It depends. I like to be on the road 6:45, 7 o'clock.
Okay.
I try to beat most of the rush and get into Chelmsford by 7:30.
Okay.
Yeah, 25, 30 minutes, not bad.
Not bad.
And perfectly
That's
manageable.
pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good.
What about the snow? Let's talk about the snow.
I'm not afraid of the snow.
I mean, it's higher elevation than Chelmsford.
It is a little different. You see the change in some of the especially the winter weather. If it's ice in one area, it could be nothing in another, that type of thing. But again, you just plan accordingly and, try not to minimize the stress and give yourself time and plan ahead and, just deal with it. So you got to be a New Englander.
That's
right?
true.
It's part of the deal.
That's part of the deal. Your education, you went to what, Bentley? Is that right?
So I graduated high school. I don't want to date myself, but I'll throw some dates out there. So graduated in 86.
Okay.
Graduated from the Mount in 96.
Massachusetts Community College in Northern Massachusetts.
Yeah, I had a business administration degree, and that was paid for by a manufacturer. I worked there during the day in customer service.
Oh, wow.
And they paid for me to go to school at night. It was precision optics, manufacturing in Gardner. And then I went to school at night in Gardner. And then from there, that associate's degree helped me land an entry-level position at MIT Lincoln Lab.
Okay.
And so then they further had tuition assistance for me to go to school at night again. So it took me another 4 years to finish my bachelor's degree from Bentley University. And I worked full-time as a business manager at Lincoln Labs. And
that was a long drive from Leominster.
Yeah, it was kind of a haul, and then at night.
But you were young at the time, right?
I was young and energized, but there was no online learning at that time. So after work, I would drive further into Waltham to school at night, and then drive back home to Leominster, and did that for a number of years, and finished in 2000.
Good for you.
Couple months before my first was born, so I got it done.
Right.
And couldn't continue on because my kids were a year apart and all of that stuff. So with that long drive, by the time my boys started school, it was just too much as a mom. So I transitioned to my hometown where I was living and got a job as the economic development person for the city of Leominster in 2006, which was quite a challenge because that's when the economy was falling apart.
That's
not the funnest time to enter
right.
the world of economic development from business, business manager to economic development in 06 when, companies were going bankrupt, and so it was
people
a really
their homes.
Rough introduction.
Right.
And my time there was paid by a federal grant, Community Development Block Grant, CDBG. So I was funded by that, and it was very restrictive to what I could work on for the town by being paid through federal dollars.
Right. How long was that in regards to federal dollars before they hired you?
Well, So that went on for, you have to reapply every year.
Oh, okay.
You have to, reapply and be accepted every year. So I did that for a number of 12 years.
Wow, that's monotonous.
And the grant was cut 6 or 7 times as the economy struggled. So I was the last one of the 2 people left paid by the grant because it had been cut so many times. So I felt it was time for a change. Because I like change, actually.
Yeah, good.
So I decided to go back to school in 2016, and I finished my master's degree in a year, online learning, and
From
got
Fitchburg State
got an
University.
MBA. Yep,
Right.
finished my MBA,
Good.
and began a job search, and just landed this role. So I'm very happy to be here.
Population of Chelmsford is 32,000.
Yes.
Leominster is a city of 41,000. A lot of people don't know that Leominster and Fitchburg are intermarried. More
Oh yeah,
or less.
Twin Cities.
Twin cities.
Twin Cities.
But the problem is they're in different congressional districts. Leominster's in the second with McGovern,
Yes.
and Fitchburg's in the third with
Yes.
Laura, if Laurie gets elected or candidate Green gets elected, right?
Yes. Yes.
So
right.
have you met Laurie at all yet?
I have.
Oh, okay.
Yes, briefly I've had some conversation.
Okay.
And the other thing is, Fitchburg, they're twin cities, but they're very different from each other. They're twin cities.
But everybody's intermarried with each other, aren't they? I mean, more or
Several
less.
generations.
Yeah.
Very seasoned. We were all exposed to manufacturing. My grandparents were
right.
Foster Grant,
for
sunglasses and combs,
right.
and
They're no longer there, right?
they're no longer there.
okay.
But it
Foster
did
Grant was
transition.
a big deal.
It did transition to Foster Tech Optics,
Oh.
which is still there.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
I see.
So it's a changing time. So they transitioned to that. But all of our parents and grandparents were involved in manufacturing there. There's 110 manufacturers in Leominster alone.
Wow, manufacturers, huh?
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
Not that we want to just talk all about Leominster the
Yeah,
whole
right.
time, but that's where all of my time was spent, and it's where my background and family history was. So it was kind of a connection there. And speaking of, yesterday I was at WNA in Chelmsford. Had a great visit to that company yesterday. Spent 3 hours there meeting with the staff and learning about the company. And
Well, tell me about
plans and
WNA.
stuff.
I'm not familiar with it.
Oh gosh, really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Waddington, North America.
Okay.
They are owned by a larger entity out of Virginia area. And I don't even know where to start with all of the things that they do there. I
Wow.
spent 3 hours learning about them yesterday, but they employ 700 people.
Wow.
Which is extraordinary
Right.
for a manufacturer to be able to do that. They're moving towards making significant moves towards their minimum wage, meeting up to the new standards. So they're working hard to make that happen there and transition and care about their people. So there's they're very impactful business, and they take care of their staff, and the products that they put out. People just say plastics manufacturing, but we touch it every day. It's all around us everywhere we go.
Oh, no
everything
doubt
we do.
about it. In fact,
It's worldwide. Products out of this area just end up in all corners of the earth. So I find it really fascinating and very important to a community. So really trying to expose some of that to the to the decision makers here to learn about how important they are. They may not be high tech or fancy or highest paying jobs, but they do have a point of value here. And so I'm here as business development to provide technical support to all businesses equally in whatever their challenges are and whatever they need is what I'm answering to. So my mission is to be inside every business
I don't blame
everywhere.
you. Okay, so let's say a congressman wants or a senator wants to come to Chelmsford and look at the businesses. You would be the one that they would talk to, and you would set up something for them to go to that particular.
Sure, absolutely.
business,
Yeah, any dignitary.
Yeah.
Any dignitary or person that wants to learn about Chelmsford
Right.
environment. keeping in mind my role is new in Chelmsford, newly created.
Okay.
So the businesses are not accustomed to outreach.
Right.
So I expected some of this to happen, and I've experienced it in the past, and you have to be a little creative. But you got to build that trust and add value to your time, because otherwise they're busy trying to make money. And they more than likely know everything they need to know, but I'm there to provide open communication on programs. And what we learned yesterday through WNA is that there's always something to learn. There's always room for improvement.
There is, that's true.
So we had a great conversation, and which is why I was there for so long yesterday, to share with them the things that I know about from supporting Leominster manufacturing. So that's just one segment in Chelmsford manufacturing.
Right.
So I've been working with other advanced robotics and
wow, that's interesting.
Engineering and communication and all those types of things. So I'm learning a new toolbox as well.
Right.
And because Leominster's a gateway community, it's a different level of poverty, different level of entry-level jobs. So it's a different set of variables in Chelmsford that you work with, and what their challenges are to what the business challenges are in Leominster. So I'm adapting as I meet and learn, and some of it comes out of my experience and knowledge in the past, and then some of it is making new connections as I figure out what Chelmsford needs, as well as recruitment to fill up empty space. But equally important is the retention and making sure that the businesses here are tended to and given what they need to help themselves, with what's happening.
You said something about robotics, and that was the key, and that's the future.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yes.
Do you know if they have a course in robotics, and maybe they can link up with the high school?
Oh, absolutely. Very involved, very in-depth robotics programs going on, even in the middle school.
Right. Oh, okay.
And, Voc School, academia, high school, all of that's very connected. And even just today, within a few hours, I am meeting with the liaison to the state for apprenticeship programs and internship programs that the state provides funding and support for. So Mary Cooney is coming out to Chelmsford to meet with me. She's from the Executive Office of Labor and Workforce Development.
I'd like to meet her.
Level.
Have her on the show.
Out. Yeah, sure. I'll ask her.
Ask her. Get her business card.
I was connected with her in Leominster, so I'm reconnecting here because I've been talking about it, and I've got 3 or 4 businesses that are looking to participate in the program. So I'm learning. It's been maybe a little while since I've used the program, so I'm going to be getting an update on the new requirements and offerings and how the eligibility works, so that when I reach out to the business community, I can push out that information. Right. I've built out a database for myself. I got about 180 emails of Chelmsford-based businesses. So any of your viewers are, welcome to reach out to me to make connections. I'm looking to share meaningful information back out to the community. And in that method, I've got a business survey out there doing the same purpose as outreach.
Is it online?
From me.
Is it online?
It is a active link. It's not on our website yet, but it will be very soon.
All right.
It's an active link.
That's a great idea.
I've emailed it out. I've got 1,100 emails out there just in Chelmsford community alone.
Wow, just think of receiving 1,100 emails.
Yes,
in 1 week or something.
Not meant to be clogging up inboxes.
Yeah, exactly.
But really being on purpose of me being introduced, because I can't possibly connect, we have 8 million square feet of business space here. I can't possibly make a personable connection. So some of this is just coming out saying, I'd love to hear from you. And those that want to be proactive are the best ones to work with initially.
Right.
So the surveys
a lot
out
of companies are expanding now. The economy is good.
Yeah, it's going well.
Yeah.
So there's just so much in motion all the time. And I'm just, really wanting to be in the mix of it, either as they come in.
Woman in motion, Lisa.
Yeah. I like to be on the go all the time.
Good.
Right. So I just want to be involved at the get-go, even when they're looking at space or connecting with a realtor is where I'd like to be in the loop before they're committing to space that may have challenges. So being able to sit down and talk about incentives, talk about supports. I'm connected with the Small Business Association at the federal level, connected with the Chelmsford Business Association, connected with Chelmsford, the Greater Lowell Chamber of Commerce, all the support systems in the area, but also at the state level, Mass Office of Business Development, Mass Growth Capital, Mass Development, all those agencies. So depending on what they're trying to do and where they're trying to be, decides on what tools I try to bring out to connect with them to, if they need a business plan, if they're beyond that point, if they need some low interest lending, if they need equipment, if they need workforce, if they need to hire, if they're new to all of that. The Mass Hire Agency that's in Lowell, that's the state career center for this area. SCORE is a group of retired executives offering free advice that are.
Oh yeah, SCORE. I'm familiar
SCORE.
with them.
So
yeah,
we have
small business.
we have pages and pages of resources
Wow.
to share, but sometimes it becomes too much information.
Right.
So I'm here to kind of funnel it and narrow it down so that they don't get overwhelmed, but they're connected and not making decisions that they have to recover or backtrack. Or also want to share with them, Chelmsford's putting out a new permitting guide. It's in the final draft right now. It's not public yet.
Permitting in regards to permits as a business.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Coming in.
Good.
What to expect
So
before you get into
exactly.
it.
That's great.
Fees, scheduling, timelines.
You got to streamline it.
You got to understand that you got to plan ahead. You know, meetings don't happen every day. So if you need permits from the planning board or conservation,
or permits for selling milk.
It takes time.
I mean, right?
You need a food inspection.
Exactly.
You need a Vic license. You need
fire inspection.
All of these things that if you're not if you're new at it, you don't know. You don't know that you need an entertainment license.
Right.
If you want to offer keynote.
Or a liquor license.
All of that takes time.
It does. But if you
the
put it in a
permitting guide
booklet,
helps. Yes.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
It gives resources, self-help book, pretty much. All the resources are there.
Right.
And it also helps you to see the flow chart of how this works. And mostly on my role, it addresses the most common openings of food, retail, office, those types of commonalities. Certainly, there's a lot of hand-holding by me as a business comes in, but at least this booklet they can read it at midnight if they need to.
Oh, okay.
You know, small business people are high energy. They're, they sleep like 3 hours and then they're at it. So once it's online and in print, they'll be able to look at it and understand the timelines, when the meetings are, how often the boards and committees and approval entities
because they have to bring their lawyers and themselves to ask for this.
The signage ordinance, all those requirements, what they can do, what they can't do.
Oh, the new signage ordinance that town meeting's going to talk about too.
That's right. All of that's in there, and a resource list of all the inspectors, who they need to talk to if they have a question.
I have a question.
Oh gosh, can I
Everyone
answer?
asks me what's going to happen to Friendlies.
Yeah, that's the question of the year, actually.
Is that right?
I was at Chelmsford High School talking to 2 classrooms of students on civic engagement, and that was the burning question.
No kidding.
That's the burning question. Yeah. And of course, all the high school students want to know. It's all food-based. They all want to know, what's cool.
Who's coming?
Who's coming?
Can you tell us who's coming? I know you probably can't talk about Friendlies because it's a private company that owns.
Yes, it's privately owned. It's under a listing broker. And
it is. Who's the broker? Maybe I could talk to him.
Gosh.
Find out. Is it local?
I got to send it to you. I apologize.
Okay. All right, no problem.
We met at Todd. We met with the gentleman. He came in. We had a great meeting.
Okay.
We sat down, had some discussions.
Because I had a broker on last week.
Yeah.
And
if I was allowed to have my phone here, I could rattle right off. But
that's good.
That happened
but we can't have a phone because it messes up.
The security guard at the door just grabbed
I want your phone. Shut it off.
Yeah.
Right?
All sharp objects.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's all right.
No
I get
contraband.
It. I get it. I thought I looked trustworthy, but no good.
No contraband, nothing like that, right?
Just water.
Yeah.
And I had to borrow your pen.
Yeah, there you go. The other thing is, I forgot to ask you this question early on, but what do you think of Chelmsford? I mean, you've been here 6 months now.
Yeah. I think it's great. There's so much potential here. I know that when you're here a long time, it just kind of becomes, like, not this again, and the regular stuff.
The parade,
it kind
the
of
4th of
blends into the
July,
background, and you're not excited about it.
I'm looking at outside perspective.
And Leominster has a lot of vibrancy downtown, full occupancy for several years on end.
Good for you.
10 years in a row.
Yeah, good.
So I feel that coming into Chelmsford, the center is kind of the heart of the community, and it sets the impression of what that community is all about.
Oh, we want those wires on the ground.
It could be just perception and not really reality, but it does when you drive in. That's where I kind of spent my time when I was first thinking about the transition. And I see that it still holds that quaint New England feel of a small community. You can see some of those touches by the independently owned shops. And but the large industrial base that creates a lot of stability and job creation here is, I thought, nicely positioned, where it's happening in clusters on the outskirts. And in Leominster, we have plastics manufacturing like in the middle of downtown because it grew up that way. It kind of morphed that way. And we struggle with, we have a major company within the downtown district. You're like, okay, how do you make this look good? It's hard.
We need to talk about
but
the one.
in Chelmsford, it's different. It's differently laid out.
Yeah,
so
it is. What I like about Chelmsford, you don't have parking meters downtown, and they want to put the wires underground.
Underground utilities are, it's a
I
challenge.
know it is a challenge. One thing I forgot to ask you, which is very important, the 129 corridor, are there any restaurants moving in, or because that was a big deal in regards to...
Yeah, it is. When you talk about 129, we're talking about 600 acres of space.
That's good.
73 properties.
Wow.
All privately owned.
Right.
So it takes a challenge to get that. Not that we need cooperation, but we need collaboration. We've got to work together in figuring out some of these challenges. So I'm very excited about it. And what we do have, since I arrived, that was in motion before I came.
Right, that's true.
197 Billerica Road. It's on 129 is Billerica Road.
Right.
So we've got...
because it goes to Billerica.
Yeah, right. So we've got our first permitted and approved project for a food establishment at that location, 197 Billerica Road.
Oh, okay.
So David Guthrie has been, the point person for that. It's a listing broker by Joe Reddy, very knowledgeable and very in-depth about the community and everything, right? Great combination.
Right.
So we've been in front of food entities that express interest, and so we're in conversation about that and seeing where it goes. No, you know how business development goes.
I know.
A lot of things are.
So how many seats will it have? I mean, if we...
It's a 200 seat.
Wow.
Yes, 200.
So you need a lot of parking.
Well, it's all very. Look, it's a great opportunity. It's a raw piece of land. It can be smartly done, engineered by Howard Stein Hudson in town, and so very appropriately planned for parking and visibility. And it'll be 100 seats inside and seating outside.
Oh, okay, I like that.
Really cool.
Yeah,
and it'll have a couple of small retail sites to complement the entity, however that works. But there'll be a little, small retail sites, about 1,000 square feet each, and then the restaurant. And it'll be just beautiful landscaping, and Mr. Guthrie does his projects top notch, so there's no concerns there.
There you go.
So we're working on it. Very exciting. It'll be the first food establishment within that corridor.
Yeah,
that's the problem. True. You have all these entities. Think about the number of people that come in there, and there's no easy food access.
That's right.
So it's a challenge, but we're working on it.
I presume it's going to be open evenings also.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They're looking to capture the daytime population.
Lunch.
And then continue on with evenings or business meetings or just general travelers and residences.
That 129 has to be.
But the cool thing